Good day, everyone. I am Angeline Montebon from Bachelor in English Education, and I will discuss to you the ICT in teacher education. And we will specifically tackling about the traditional view of the learning process, changes in views of the learning process, and lastly, the theories of supporting the new view of the learning process. Now let us first discuss the traditional view of learning process. The current understanding of the learning process arose from the factory model of education at the start of 20th century, and it was extremely effective in equipping vast numbers of people with the skills required for low-skilled jobs in industrial and agricultural employment are available. The traditional teacher-centered approach to learning is illustrated in Figure 1.1. As shown, the teacher is the expert and the dispenser of knowledge to the students. The traditional education paradigm is often characterized by the following views of learning. First, learning is hard. Students are not learning if they are having fun or enjoying what they are doing in a learning activity according to this viewpoint. Second, learning is based on a deficit model of the student. The approach aims to discover the student's shortcomings and limitations. Students are tracked, classified, remedied, or failed based on their inadequacies. In compensatory education programs, the influence of the deficit model of student learning is most visible. Third, learning is a process of information transfer and reception. Much of today's education is still information-oriented, with the focus in pupils replicating rather than generating their own knowledge. It is also still centered on the teacher. Many people still consider the teacher's job to be that of an information distributor, and the student's function to be that of a passive receiver, storer, and repetition of the transmitted information. You can see in Figure 1.1. Fourth, learning is an individual solitary process. In the study of schools in the United States, the National Assessment of Educational Progress noted that most students spend long hours working alone at their desk, completing worksheets or repetitive tasks. A London Times survey of English school children indicated that students almost unanimously rejected this daily ordeal of dull and ritualistically solitary classroom activity and called for a broader and more exciting curriculum. Fifth, learning is facilitated by breaking content or instruction into small isolated units. The educational system is frequently more concerned with identifying and evaluating knowledge patches than with stitching them together. Sixth, learning is a linear process. Frequently, the textbook or teacher provides only one linear path through a narrowly bounded content area or sequence of standardized instructional units. For example, in mathematics text, only one correct problem solution trail may be offered for a specific subclass of problems. Next, let us discuss the changes in view of the learning process. In contrast to the traditional teaching learning paradigm, a new teaching learning paradigm is developing, based on 3 decades of human learning research that includes the following perspective on the human learning processes. And first, it is learning is a natural process. The brain's inherent condition is not to learn, yet that everyone learns in the same way. Different learning, perceptual, and personality styles must all be taken into account when creating learning experiences for each student. Next, learning is a social process as shown by the fast rise of quality circles and computer-supported collaborative work in industry, government, health, and higher education. The community context of knowledge and learning is beginning to be rediscovered. Students learn best in partnership with classmates, instructors, parents, and others when they are actively involved in meaningful, engaging activities as Vygotsky 1978 recognized long ago. Third, learning is an active and not a passive process. People in most disciplines are faced with the task of creating knowledge rather than just repeating it. Students must be actively involved in the learning process in order to progress toward competence, such as by solving real-world problems, producing original writing, completing scientific research projects rather than simply studying about science, and conversing with others on a variety of topics. Fourth, learning may either be linear or nonlinear. Much of what now happens in schools appears based on the notion that the mind works like a serial processor that is designed to process only one piece of information at a time in sequential order. But the mind is a wonderful parallel processor that may attend to and process many different types of information simultaneously. Fifth, learning is integrative and contextualized. According to Prebham's holistic brain hypothesis, information provided in a global style is more easily digested than information presented in a sequential format. Prebham 1991. Students can also notice relationships and establish connections more easily. In Science and Human Values, Jacob Bronowski 1990 made the argument that to find a relationship between what had looked, he calls it an act of unifying. Sixth, learning is based on a strength model of student abilities, interests, and culture. Based on the work of Howard Gardner and others, schools are beginning to consider the specific strengths and interests that students bring to the learning environment and are designing learning activities that build on students' strengths rather than focusing only upon remediating weaknesses. Seventh, learning is assessed through task completion, products, and real problem solving of both individual and group efforts. Rather than simply evaluating students through paper and pencil tests, assessments are made using portfolios of actual performances and work in both collaborative and individual learning tasks. Teachers generally perform most of the talking and intellectual effort, while students are passive receptacles of the knowledge supplied according to the conventional view of the learning process. In his book, Growing Up Digital, The Rise of the Net Generation 1998, Don Tapscott writes that we are approaching a new era of digital learning in which we are integrating from paper to digital. Today's students no longer want to be passive recipients in the information transfer model of learning. Rather, they want to be active participants in the learning process. Now, let us discover the shift from teaching to learning. Technology is altering our expectation from what kids must learn in order to operate in the new world economy, as it does in other sectors of society. Students will have to learn to navigate through large amounts of information, to analyze and make decisions, and to master new knowledge domains in an increasingly technological society. The following table, Sandholz, Ringstaff, and Doiver 1997, depicts the transition from a teaching-focused to a learning-focused approach. In Table 1.1, teacher-centered and learner-centered learning environments shows that by shifting the focus from teaching to learning, instructors and students may benefit from a more dynamic and engaging learning environment. This new environment necessitates a shift in both instructors and students' roles. In Table 1.2, derived from Newby et al. 2000, shows how the teacher's function will shift from knowledge transmission to learning facilitator and knowledge guide. The value of the teacher is not diminished by the new position, but it does not necessitate new knowledge and abilities. In this setting, students will be more responsible for their own learning, and they search out to find, synthesize, and share their knowledge with others. ICTs are effective instruments for supporting the move to student-centered learning, and instructors and students' new responsibilities. On the other hand, there are lots of theories supporting the new view of the learning process. Based on the cognitive learning research and the convergence of various theories that have impacted our knowledge of the nature and context of learning, new perspective on a learning and a movement towards student-centered learning have developed. Sociocultural theory based on Vygotsky intersubjectivity and zone of proximal development. Constructivism theory self-regulated learning, situated condition, cognitive apprenticeship, problem-based learning, cognition and technology group, and Vanderbilt. Cognitive flexibility theories, Pero et al. 1988, and distributed cognition are just few of the most well-known theories. First, let us discuss Vygotsky's social cultural theory. It is a social process according to Vygotsky. Sociocultural theory of human learning and human intelligence emerges from the society of culture. The central concept of Vygotsky theoretical framework is that social contact is crucial to cognitive growth. Everything according to Vygotsky is learned on two levels. Another theory is from Jean Piaget. Many consider Piaget's works to be the basic ideas of constructivist theory based on his research on the development of children's cognitive processes. Learning, he observed what happens as a result of adaptation to interactions with the environment. According to Piaget, the learner's current cognitive structures affect how new information is seen and processed. If the new information proves to be accurate, if the new information makes sense to the existing mental structures of the learner, then the new information item is incorporated into the structure. On the other hand, Brunner, like Piaget, mentioned the importance of learning as an active process in which students create new ideas or concepts based on their past knowledge and experience. Three concepts guided the evolution of instruction according to him. These include, first, instructions must be concerned with the experience and context that make the students willing and able to learn, or readiness. Second, instruction must be structured so that the student can easily grasp it, or spiral organization. Third, instruction should be designed to facilitate extrapolation and or fill in the gaps, going beyond the information given. In problem-based learning, the goals of problem-based learning (PBL) are to develop higher-order thinking skills by providing students with authentic and complex problem and cases. This approach to learning provides a more authentic context for learning and engages students in authentic tasks. It is used frequently in fields such as engineering, medicine, architecture, and has been increasingly applied to K-12 settings. Next, anchored instruction. It is an approach to designing instruction that is anchored in a real-world context, problems, or situation. Technology has been used to help create real-world contexts and situations through the use of video. The video segments provide the context for the subsequent learning and instruction. That was according to Bransford and Stein 1993. We have distributed cognition, or it emphasizes that cognitive growth is fostered through interaction with others and involves dialogue and discourse, making private knowledge public and developing shared understandings. Tools for online collaborations have been designed to support collaborative knowledge construction and sharing in the classroom. That was according to Oshima, Berater, and Scardamalia 1995. For cognitive flexibility theory, this theory asserts that people acquire knowledge in ill-structured domains by constructing multiple representations and linkages among knowledge units. It also notes that the learners revisit the same concepts and principles in a variety of contexts. Next, we have cognitive apprenticeship. Cognitive apprenticeship is a term for the instructional process in which teachers or more experienced or knowledgeable peers provide scaffolds to support learners' cognitive growth and development. Cognitive apprenticeship permits students to learn through their interactions, construct knowledge, and share knowledge-building experiences with the members of the learning community. We also have situated learning. Situated learning emphasizes the use of apprenticeship, coaching, collaboration, authentic context, tasks, activities, and cognitive tools. It occurs when students work on authentic tasks that takes place in real-world settings, according to Wynne 1993. Learning is viewed as a function of the activity, context, and culture in which it occurs, which contrasts with most classroom learning, which is abstract and out of context. We have also self-regulated learning. Self-regulated learners are those who are aware of their own knowledge and understandings. Example, what they know and what they do not know or need to understand. It combines self-observation, self-judgment, and self-reaction. Self-regulation plays a crucial role in all phases of learning and has the potential to increase the meaningfulness of students' classrooms learning. That was according to Sconfeld 1987. These ideas that underpin fresh perspective and learning aid in the new development of new learning pedagogies. The challenge for ICTs in teacher education is to ensure that the future and present teachers are adequately equipped to employ new learning techniques, processes, and materials with new ICT tools for learning. The parts that follow give a roadmap to assess teachers. Again, this is Angeline. Thanks for watching!